I know listening to the gospel, you are a little scared, so I say another story. There is a story of a man who was terrified of flying. One day, he had to board a flight for an important family event. As the plane took off, he tightly gripped both armrests and kept murmuring prayers. A flight attendant came by and said kindly, "Sir, relax. The pilot has done this hundreds of times." The man looked at her and said, "That is exactly what scares me. With that many times, he is bound to make a mistake eventually." Dear friends, sometimes we are like that man. We claim to believe, but we still cling to our fears. Deep down, we struggle to trust fully, even in the one who never fails. Today's readings are calling us out of that fear and into deep, living faith. A faith that is full of hope and helps us to stay prepared. In today's Gospel from Luke, Jesus begins with this beautiful assurance: "Do not be afraid any longer, little flock, for your Father is pleased to give you the kingdom." Is not that amazing? God is not reluctant. He is eager to give us the kingdom. Jesus goes on to speak about being ready and watchful like servants waiting for their master to return. Dear friends, the point is clear. We are all on a journey, and one day we will meet the Lord face to face. And in this great Jubilee year, we are in the Jubilee year 2025, the church reminds us that we are truly pilgrims of home, the theme of this Jubilee year. Like travelers who know their destination, we walk forward with faith and expectation. We are not wandering aimlessly. We are heading towards the embrace of God, carrying hope in our hearts for the road ahead. Yes, are we living with that hope and readiness? That is the question we reflect today. This also warns against complacency. It is not fear Jesus is using to motivate us, but love and faith. We are called to be people of deep faith, not distracted or discouraged by life's ups and downs. The second reading from Hebrews gives us the definition of faith. We heard, faith is the realization of what is hoped for and evidence of things not seen. Think about Abraham, who left his home not knowing where he was going. He trusted God's promise even when it seemed impossible. He and Sarah waited years for the birth of their child, and all along, what kept them going? That is their faith. Faith is not blind optimism, it is confident trust in a God who is always working, even when we can't see it. Some of you may be going through struggles, maybe illness, loneliness, financial worries, family pain. But I want to tell you today, no, Jesus wants to tell us today, don't give up. Faith will see you through. Dear friends, faith does not mean we will never face problems, but it means we will never face them alone. God is with us in the fire, in the storm, in the long night, like the Israelites in the first reading from Wisdom, who trusted in God's promise and were delivered from slavery. We too can trust in the Lord. And this reminds me of something I experienced recently. Another day, I joined with some of my friends watching the drama Tecumseh at Chillicothe. I suppose many of you might know this outdoor drama based on the life of the great Shawnee leader. It was a great experience. I enjoyed watching the whole drama. But what touched me most was not the battle scenes or the costumes, but one particular moment when Tecumseh speaks of hope, hope for a better future, even in the face of overwhelming odds. He was not just talking about military victory, he was speaking from the heart of a leader who longed for peace, for dignity, for purpose. His people were facing change, hardships, and uncertainty, and he looked forward with hope. That moment reminded me of what it means to have faith when nothing makes sense. And I say this not to point fingers or revisit old wounds, but to highlight something we all share, a deep human longing to believe that something better is coming. Faith does that. It gives us eyes to see what is not yet visible and the courage to move forward anyway. Dear friends, in the gospel, Jesus is not just calling us to be busy, he's calling us to be ready. Ready for what? For life eternity. This life is not the end. All our efforts, struggles, and even our sufferings take on new meaning when seen through the lens of faith. We are not just living for now, we are living in preparation for something greater. That is why Jesus says, "Blessed is that servant whom his master on arrival finds doing so, finds very vigilant." Dear friends, faith helps us to stay awake, to live each day with joy and purpose, knowing that what we do now echoes in eternity. So today, the message is simple but powerful. Have faith, don't give up, stay ready, keep hoping. You might feel small, like that little flock Jesus speaks of, but God delights in giving you the kingdom. When the storm hits, cling to faith. When the night is long, light the candle of hope. When the path is unclear, walk anyway, knowing God goes before you. Let us live like Abraham, like Sarah, like the faithful servant, like people who believed in something greater, who carried hope forward, and who trusted that God's promise is true. And because it is true, Amen.